Mr. Thapar, thank you so much for chatting with ET now. While we've seen a whole slew of reforms over the last couple of months, the investment cycle hasn't quite revived yet. What explains that, according to you?
Lack of a rate cut,
A rate cut alone?
Well, lack of a rate cut also, I think, while I think the new finance minister, Mr. Tamram, has made all the right moves and all the right steps, I think the fact that there are one or two things on the policy front that still actually need to happen. And I think that there is a big overhanging concern about the fiscal deficit and the fact that we have had a number of social security net related policies and programs that have been put in place in the last 2-3 years. I think there is always that little bit of apprehension that we are going to see another one of those coming up in the next budget with elections coming up. So I think it's a combination of 2-3 things that need to happen before you really start seeing that kind of how should I say, a little bit of the animal spirits that were there 4 or 5 years ago, coming back again.
The expectation is that we will start rate cuts, seeing rate cuts from later this month. What's your sense? Do you think the central bank will now be a little more aggressive, or do you see more staggered, cuts in interest rates?
Well, all the economist reports that I've read globally point to a global pickup at the second half of the year. So the question then is that if there is a global pickup in the second half of the year and the world economy starts reverting a little bit back to trend, what is the reading of it? Is it inflationary or is it not inflationary for us as well? And I think that's one big question out there. I think a lot of our inflation issues are self-created, not necessarily imported from elsewhere in the world. So I would certainly want to see at least a half a basis point cut in interest rates at the end of this month as a signal. All right, it may be more gradual as we go along, but at least as a signal it becomes quite clear that, look, the economy is now stabilized, it is a little bit on the mend, enough policy things have happened to allow us to do it. Having said that, the expectation after this 28th or 29th January RBI meeting is that you basically wait another month and you've got the budget. So he may be very conservative, Mr. Subba Rao, and he may just turn around and say, well, why do it now? Let's just wait for the budget and see what the government has in the budget and then decide whether a rate cut is necessary or not. So I'm not holding my breath for a rate cut. I think it's due, but I'm not holding my breath.
But do you think the investment cycle then is likely to revive towards the later half of this year?
Yes.
Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, but it's a fair assessment based upon the reports that one is reading and also based upon the kind of business sentiment that we are beginning to see in terms of sales, in terms of demand, in terms of those sort of things. But having said that, we still live in a fair bit of uncertainty. So I think there's more of externalities that I think are more concerned about today than internal issues within the country anymore.
We spoke about some of the reforms. So the one reform that kind of stands out is the Cabinet Committee on Investment, something that industry has been seeking for a while now. The final proposal seems a little watered down, not quite the way it was originally envisaged. But do you think it's still a game changer as far as clearing large-scale infrastructure projects are concerned?
I think it's an important signal, but one of the problems that we've had arising out of liberalization, and maybe it should have been expected, is that you no longer have a policy structure availability which can be policed by a single ministry. In anything that you want to do today, you have multiple clearances required. And so the issue is not the cabinet committee or whatever on investment. The issue is where does that entity have real linkages to actually bring about effective decision making. So if you have a situation today where, let's say, the Ministry of Environment has its own set of regulatory issues and as a norm says that we've adopted a norm that any infrastructure project that comes for clearance minimum 12 months will be taken to give the clearance, then
there's very little that...
Yeah, then, well, firstly, as it stands today, there's very little anybody can do. But will this then committee be able to turn around and say, we're sorry, but for all projects that have been nominated or sent up to the Cabinet Committee for Investment, which we are monitoring, this norm has to be down to 6 weeks. And then if that norm is down to 6 weeks, why cannot it be 6 weeks for any infrastructure project? So I think the way I look at it is that till we don't figure out within our own administrative and governance system how to get the ministries to work together across multiple disciplines, because there's nothing today that does not affect 6 or 7 different ministries. I think the idea is great, but I think that the implementation you have to see it to believe that it's really going to be effective.
Well, we're probably a little over a month away from the budget, and like you were saying, that's going to be decisive, isn't it? There's going to be a huge amount of political pressure on the finance minister to give in to some sort of fiscal expansion with elections around the corner. How tough is this going to be? This balancing act is going to be watched by everyone.
Sure. I think there are some very, very low-hanging fruit. I think would say, increasing the FDI in insurance to 49% and getting that through the parliament would be probably the easy one to do. And I think that would unleash a lot of positive sentiment, at least as far as the equity markets go, because it immediately brings them there. I think infrastructure is a long-term challenge. I think everybody understands that. Hopefully, the coal, power, all these issues will get resolved, and they seem to be gradually moving to getting sorted out. And if that's the case, I think you've got between a potential of a rate cut, between some policy, low-hanging fruit things, and a finance minister who I think understands very, very clearly and grasps the situation very well. I think you have a platform on which you could really see investment growth starting to pick up in the latter half of the year, because it takes time for everybody to dust off their projects, look at it. Costs have changed, technologies have changed. 2 years later, are the market issues the same? Are the considerations still the same? So everybody is going to have to start doing that, and a lot of us have, I would say, already started in the last quarter looking at sort of the plans that we've had and said, we put this on hold, let's look at it again, let's bring it back, let's understand what it is, how has it changed, and does it make sense for us to go ahead and do it. And there it's not a question of whether growth is 5.5% to 7.5%. There it's more for many businesses, it's a question of market share, it's a question that the economy is growing, we do have a position in the economy, do we need to now make investments behind it, and would those investments justify get the return to justify those? So I think a combination of 3 or 4 things, and I think you would see a very different sentiment.